Joe Ricari calls me up and says, hey, I got something I want you to hang on to for me. He comes with a box filled with CDs. They all had videos on them. And he said, look, I got a high-profile case. It's the Epstein case. This evidence, I think, is probably going to disappear. I want you to hang on to it for me in case something happens. Okay. He left the boxes there. I burned them all onto a hard drive. The next day he came back, took the box. That was it. And
but you never looked at it.
No, I was too busy. I didn't give those files any thought at all. Well, towards the end of 2019, I get a call from a reporter. He said, I wanted to ask you about Joseph Ricari. I said, oh, how is he doing? I haven't talked to him in years. And the reporter says, well, he's dead. I'm like, he's dead.
If a whistleblower is thinking to blow the whistle, how would you say he could conduct himself so that he's protected?
I would say blow the whistle after you get out of the United States.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Guys. Mm-hmm.
Because with me, they put me on the TSA's no-fly list.
Hello, everyone. Great to be back with you. It's Ivory Hecker and Elizabeth Lane. Today, we're going to discuss the Epstein case and these tapes that we've heard about of high-profile public figures that Epstein recorded doing very bad things. But we've never seen these tapes. There's a potential whistleblower going to join our show today, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to apologize for my lighting. I thought that I had it all, great and done, but it's dark here, so all my lights are on and it's still somehow dark. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, it looks good to me.
Okay, perfect. So John Dugin is joining us from Russia, as almost all whistleblowers are running to Russia. He ended up in Russia as well. So without, us trying to get into nitty-gritty by ourselves, maybe we should bring him on and kind of talk to him about how this whole thing went down and what tapes are out there that we should know about.
All right, let's bring John Mark Dugin on. Thank you so much for coming on from Moscow, right?
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
So John, I read that you were a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy up until 2008. You left in the midst of trying to expose a separate scandal in Palm Beach County, Florida. But Palm Beach County, Florida is the same location where Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2006 after women came forward talking about these sexual massages. Now you are saying that you have a tape associated with these illegal massages, right?
Well, no, I mean, not a tape. It's a hard drive. And it came into my possession back in 2010. But there's a backstory to this. So, I don't know how much time we have, but I can kind of give you the backstory.
Absolutely go into the backstory. Yeah, I'm interested.
All right. So I was a deputy with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. And if you know the story at all, Epstein was actually arrested by the Palm Beach Police Department. So it's a different organization. But the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office did provide the jail where Epstein was supposed to be residing for 1 year, which this is a very odd story in itself. At the time, the Palm Beach Police Chief, Ritter, I think it was, I can't remember his name, wrote a letter saying that Epstein's treatment in jail was extraordinary and that perhaps the people involved should be recusing themselves. So, and what that letter meant, and actually I have that letter, I could send it to you later. I didn't think about it till just now, but what that letter was for, Epstein was supposed to be in jail for a year on some crazy lenient plea bargain. The feds didn't want anything to do with this case. Now, this was back in, I think it was back in 2007 or 2008 when he got arrested. Feds didn't want anything to do with it. And the reason they didn't want anything to do with it was because they didn't want to get egg on their face. So it was kept a local case by the local corrupt politicians there.
Thank you to the sponsor of my coverage, National Gold Group. Gold has soared past 2,100 an ounce in 2023. Donald Trump recently warned that the U.S. dollar no longer being the world standard will be our greatest defeat. Military conflicts in Israel, Ukraine, and Yemen, plus rate cuts on the table, are fueling gold's meteoric rise. Several major banks are all forecasting sizable rate cuts in an election year. Some say this is Biden's Hail Mary attempt to keep the White House. Meanwhile, our national debt is skyrocketing higher. There's a direct correlation to the national debt and the price of gold. In 2020, the U.S. debt was $23 trillion and gold $1,500 an ounce. In 2023, 33 trillion and gold is over 2,000 an ounce. Why are so many Americans adding physical gold and silver to their portfolios and retirement plans? Learn why. You can call America's own precious metals company, the National Gold Group, today. Mention my channel, Ivory Hecker, and you'll always get best-in-class service from America's conservative precious metals leader. National Gold Group has the IRA fee waiver program on qualifying rollovers. Call 888-617-5927. National Gold Group is a Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer. It's 888-617-5927. Tell them I sent you.
At the time, I think it was Michael McAuliffe was the prosecutor, and the sheriff Rick Bradshaw, who's in charge of the jail, and his chief deputy, Michael Gauger. Michael Gauger was directly responsible for the jail. He was the chief deputy, which is actually under the sheriff. So these two guys, Bradshaw and Gauger, the three guys, and Michael McAuliffe, were letting Epstein, fly to New York, okay? And they were sending deputies with him because he was supposed to be supervised. Now, there was a big scandal in the department because in the department, all extra duty details they go on a website and the deputies get to bid, and it's first come, first serve. You know, if there's special qualifications, then that comes into play. But generally speaking, it's first come, first serve. And there was nothing special about the Epstein case. There's no extra requirements. But here's what was interesting about the Epstein case, okay? Here's what happened with that. They took handpicked deputies by the sheriff who would look the other way while Epstein was bringing young girls into his office in New York. And this was actually, this was kind of a scandal. It even made the papers a little while back. So these deputies were looking the other way. The same year this happened, the sheriff ended up with a $1.1 million home in Palm Beach and 2 vacation homes in North Carolina. So everybody,
This was 2006.
raised,
This was all 2006, right?
I can't remember exactly the exact times. It was between, I think he may have been arrested in 2006 and then in jail in 2008. But I was actually not a part of any of that. I was not a part of the investigation, nothing. So for me, it was just things that I heard while I was a cop. And, you know, so I don't have an exact handle on this timeline. But what happened is I was exposing corruption in the department in 2008, 2009. And I ended up leaving because there was a guy by the name of Brent Raban, who was a sergeant. He was running around with a team of people. They were just beating the blacks brutally, making up false charges, having deputies make up false charges on these guys. And they were posting their photos, the bloody photos of these victims on Facebook and bragging about it. So I went to Internal Affairs. Internal Affairs tried to hide it because Ray-Ban was related to the sheriff somehow. And then I leaked it to the media because, well, if the sheriff's office isn't going to do anything, well, this created a whole host of problems with me. They started up 5 internal affairs investigations on me. And they'll tell you I was a bad deputy, but I was deputy of the month 2 times in 2008 out of 4,000 guys. So it's not true. But they do this to make it seem like I was some disenfranchised guy. No, I left the department. Eventually, I set up websites, whistleblower websites, where good cops could go on, send anonymous information where they could not be found out. Their identities could not be found by the sheriff.
So something like WikiLeaks, but for police.
Exactly. Yeah. And my site led to the arrest and incarceration of a lot of cops and corrupt politicians, especially in Palm Beach County. But not just there. As far as California, Renton, Washington, all over the country. So
What's the website? Is it still up?
it's still up, but it's not active. It's pbsotalk.org. It was pbsotalk.com, and then eventually my home was raided by the FBI, and one of the things that they did was they seized my domain name. So very corrupt bunch of people.
Wow. Yeah, I just tried to type that out and it doesn't come out. It says this site cannot be reached.
Yeah, well. So so back in 2010, I got a phone call. I was at my apartment doing some work. I was working from home, and it was a friend of mine, Joe Riccari. Joe Riccari worked for the Palm Beach Police Department. I met him several years earlier, working, I think it was some burglary cases that kind of crossed jurisdictions. So we had worked together before. We were friends. Joe Riccari knew that I had PBSO Talk, and he calls me up and says, "Hey, I got something I want you to hang on to for me. Do you mind if I drop by your house?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." So he comes to my house. He comes with a box filled with, I can't remember if they were CDs or DVDs at the time. I think they were CDs, but they all had videos on them. And he said, "Look, I got a high profile case. It's the Epstein case. This evidence, I think, is probably going to disappear. I want you to hang on to it for me in case something happens." Okay. So he left the boxes there. I burned them all onto a hard drive. The next day he came back, took the box. That was it. Well, I thought nothing of it till after that. I never paid attention to anything. I never watched any of the stuff.
Wait, so you made copies while you had it? You made copies.
That's correct.
Did he know you made a copy?
He asked me to.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, he asked me to keep a copy of them.
Okay.
And
But you never looked at it.
No, I was too busy. To make a copy of a DVD, you don't have to actually watch the contents. You just
And he did he tell you what was on it?
no. I mean, no, we never really had the discussion. He just wanted. I was basically like a safety deposit box at that point. A safe repository. He wanted to put stuff in. I wasn't asking questions. He wasn't going to talk about it. That was it. So, and then years passed. I never thought about it after that. But I always had this big file sitting on my computer. So, and I say it's a big file. It's one file. It was encrypted. It was 720 videos that were encrypted into one file, just in case you don't know how that works. So, I didn't think about it until 2019. And here's why. In 2016, the FBI raided my home. They were looking for hackers, but it was just an excuse for them to find out who recorded a dirty deputy and posted the recordings online. They knew it was me, but they needed the evidence. They couldn't get a subpoena for my computers or a warrant for my computers based on thinking that I made the recordings, but they used a different reason, which was the posting of cops' information online, which I did, but it was public record, by the way. It was just a mistake in the public record system. Still, they called it hacking. They said it was suspicion of hacking, and they came in. 45 guys came, raided my home, took everything electronic, and that's when I fled to Russia. And then it wasn't until 2019. I never gave it a thought. 2019, at the very beginning, I finally got somebody to bring a bag of stuff for me. And the bag of stuff was my clothing and an extra hard drive. The hard drive was kept off-site because I always keep an off-site backup of all my data. Smart thing to do in case your house burns down. Of course, in case you get raided by the FBI, blah, 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 right? So I had an off-site backup sent to me. And I didn't give those files any thought at all, right? Because I haven't thought about it until 2010. Well, towards the end of 2019, I get a call from a reporter who says, I'm with so-and-so newspaper, I don't know, someplace out of Britain, I can't remember which one. He said, I wanted to ask you about Joseph Ricari. Okay. He's like, did you know him? I was like, yeah, I was friends with him.
So this is the person that gave you the tapes, correct?
Joseph Ricari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gave you, so somebody's asking for him right now. Okay, got it.
Well, they're asking me questions about him.
Okay.
And I don't know, I figured he did something to get into the news. And I said, oh, how is he doing? I haven't talked to him in years. And the reporter says, well, he's dead. I'm like, he's dead? Like, this is a guy, he's in fantastic shape. I mean, you guys got to Google a picture of him. Good looking,
Here he is.
handsome guy. Yeah. And I think he was 50 years old, just 50 years old.
Wow.
And they're like, yeah. So this reporter's like, yeah, he's dead. And I'm like, man. And he started to ask me questions about the Epstein case. He never got to the hard drive. Then I said, well, I didn't actually work on that case. You know, I don't know much about it. There's not a lot that I can tell you. Well, the article comes out a few days later. And apparently what happened was this. The FBI found out that I had this hard drive sent to me in Russia. And they figured out that it was a backup of what I had. Okay? Well, the FBI already had my computers. So they've had all my files since 2016.
Including including what's on the drive, right?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And
they had all that since at least 2016.
Yeah.
And this article goes on to say, well, the FBI contacted MI6. Now, this is an MI6 whistleblower who contacted this reporter about this.
So
The FBI, huh?
just to tell people, like most Americans might not know, MI6 is the equivalent of CIA, but for the British intelligence.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So MI6 gets a call from the FBI, according to this MI6 whistleblower, and says that Dugan guy brought a hard drive filled with compromat to Russia.
Mm.
So, and then they said, so Prince Andrew is going to be compromised. Now, the funny thing about this story is I never watched any of these videos. So, but the FBI must have watched these videos because first they knew that I had these videos. They knew what were in them. And why would they say Prince Andrew?
Yeah.
Why would they contact MI6? So they knew it was on the videos, and I mean, so that's kind of strange. And I still have the files. I mean, there's not really much you can do with them.
So when you heard that, did you decide, let me go look at it? Let me watch and see what's there?
Not really, no. I didn't want, I still,
That's the first thing I would watch.
child pornography?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, come on. Like, it's not about children pornography. It's about people that are involved in
Well,
this.
look, I unzipped them. I looked at one or two. You'll be disappointed at what was there. I mean, you got to remember these security cameras were from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not like the high definition videos that you see of security footage today.
Okay.
They're crappy, they're grainy. Unless you know who somebody is, you can't really tell.
Okay.
So you're saying you didn't see any solid evidence of any heads of state doing things wrong?
I didn't get into it that much.
So do you ever plan on actually getting into it yourself? Like maybe you don't plan to, put it out there in press, but just so that you know some of the names.
No, because you know what? I'm going to tell you my reasoning now. The first reason is this: the FBI has this stuff. Okay, it's their job as a law enforcement agency to do something. The people want this information. They need to put pressure on the FBI. Okay, as a private citizen, I can't be looking through child pornography. A lot of people are like, well, dump the videos online. Come on, if you were a victim of child pornography, are you going to want your videos out there for the world to see? That's the first thing. Second of all, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in a Russian prison for distributing that.
Okay.
Wow.
There's so many ethical problems with it. So, what do? You have to put pressure on the FBI. They've got the information. They can do something with it.
Good point. Yeah.
Maybe hand it over to other law enforcement agencies, since the FBI doesn't seem to be doing anything.
Who?
Maybe like somehow Congress, somebody like a congressperson that can do something about it.
Who? They have to turn it over to the FBI.
Not necessarily. Why? I mean, they have the congressional investigations are done all the time. I mean, if you ever want to, I can help you get in touch with congressmen who's somewhat honest in their endeavors in the states.
You can see if they'll take it. I doubt they will, though. Honestly, I doubt they will.
So the videos that you did look at, what did you see?
There were 7 that were in one file. There was one was a girl showering in a nice upscale bedroom. They looked very tropically, very, very like Miami style decoration, just yeah, and things of that nature.
You didn't recognize Prince Andrew or Bill Clinton or any of these people?
I didn't get that far into the files.
Mm-hmm. And like, if you could tell us like the nature of the video, so it's like someone shooting at the girl or somebody placing the video and getting.
No, I think it's a camera that was hidden in the bedroom.
Oh, okay. So it was like all just bugged. That's what you're saying. I thought it was okay. That makes sense.
So a lot of people do not believe you, since
Okay.
Since you're not showing anyone the videos, you're not doing anything with it, but you're speaking about it.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't ask for it. So it was the news that contacted me.
Mm-hmm.
I've already said that I don't want any
attention.
It's not my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got 700 plus videos that you haven't looked at?
720.
I think Ivor is still digesting that. Like, what? Me and her would be on this like 24/7. Let's see.
No, I get the concern is that if you
Yeah.
have any underage person on camera in a sexual situation, that you can go to prison for that, even if you're not, responsible for that video.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
it's a scary thing to deal with.
Yeah. And I have people that challenge me on releasing it all the time. And I say, well, why don't you release them? And then I tell them what can happen if they release them. Go to jail for.
Oh, you mean to hand over so they
Yeah,
can?
because if you uploaded it, like if he hands these files to us, we
Mhm.
upload it on Rumble.
Yeah.
We could get charged for publishing child porn.
Yeah,
That's correct.
distributing child pornography for sure. But
That's correct.
if we hand the tapes over to a congressperson who we trust, then he probably can do so. I mean, who's gonna tolerate in America arresting a congressperson for telling you, the files on Jeffrey Epstein? I don't think that Americans would let that happen.
Exactly.
I think they would.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
No, there's no way a member of Congress would get arrested for showing the public what they've found.
They can't show the public.
Here's the
How are
thing.
they going to show the public?
There's a way to go through video and hide the identity of an underage person while still showing people what's there.
Good luck.
So, okay, quick question. Then you defected to Russia, but it seems like you defected to Russia not because of Epstein, but because of completely something else. So how did you pick Russia versus, like, let's say, I don't know, some other countries? I mean, I get it. Like, other countries have not been very consistent in their protection of their victims, if you take Julian Assange or others, right? But
Well, that's one of the reasons, yeah. And I had been to Russia before, and I knew I liked it here. It was beautiful. So combined with the fact that I knew that they would protect me, whereas there's no place in Europe, any place that's a member of Interpol will not, and any place that has an extradition agreement will not. So even the Maldives that doesn't have an extradition agreement, they will still hand people over to America.
of course, money.
Yeah, Edward Snowden is successfully hiding out there. Is he the one you got this idea from?
No, I mean, yeah, he came here before me, but I had been to Russia before him, so I already knew what it was like.
And quick question. So if a whistleblower, potential whistleblower is thinking to blow the whistle, what are the countries, how would you say, like, he could conduct himself so that he's protected, and what are the countries he could go to?
Well, I would say blow the whistle after you get out of the United States.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Guys.
Because with me, they put me on the TSA's no-fly list, and I had to sneak out of the country in a wig.
Wow. Wait, you sneaked out through the land?
Well, I took an airplane, a small airplane.
That's what I'm saying, maybe got to Mexico first and then took an airplane, or how did you sneak out?
No, I took an airplane from the U.S., a small airplane.
Oh,
I told the pilot I was writing a book on plate tectonics and I need to fly over some GPS coordinates, and then I faked a heart attack.
what? Okay, you wanna tell us this story a little bit more? So you went and got a pilot on a smaller jet and told.
No, it wasn't a jet. I found somebody at a private airport, and he had like a Cessna 172 or 182, and I said, "Hey, I'm a geologist. I'm writing a book on plate tectonics. I need photographs from the air." And I had a list of GPS coordinates. Well, one was right near an uncontrolled airfield in Canada. And you don't actually, if you're flying and you're flying over Canada, but you're going to land back in the United States, you don't need any TSA clearance for the passenger. So that's exactly what I did. And as soon as I got over the second or third GPS coordinates, I told him I was having a heart attack again, which I never had one before, but I just said again. And he did an emergency landing. It was a airfield that was uncontrolled, which means no tower, which means no cops are going to show up anytime soon. We landed. I grabbed my stuff, threw him $600, and took off through the woods.
Wow.
Caught a bus to Toronto, and I got Turkish Airlines to Moscow.
Nice. So there you go. A good plan for future whistleblowers if you want to do something like that. I agree. You're like,
That's crazy.
you're shocked. Are you thinking about defecting too?
I'd really, you know how I feel about Russia. Not interested in going. But
Have you ever been here?
No,
no, I haven't. But
We always
how can
say
you even
about
say
it.
that?
the
We all
arrest of the American basketball player for simply having something in her bag, a vape pen in her bag, and
No,
then
hold on.
Putin
Oh, no,
uses
he had
her
drugs.
as
Wait.
leverage to bring one of his killers home, set a dangerous precedent for Americans.
Hold on.
Wait,
So let me clarify this.
He's not a killer. Wait a second.
First of all, she was arrested before the war began. That's the first thing. Second of all, she didn't have a vape pen. She had a bunch of cannabis cartridges wrapped in saran wrap so the dogs wouldn't smell it. If you bring an illegal substance into the United States from a foreign country and you get caught, there's a minimum mandatory jail sentence, of 10 years.
That's what I told her. Like, if forget United States, how about France? I said, if you did what she did in France, in Paris, you'll be done. You'll never see her again. Okay. So
okay, and you guys don't believe that the leverage Putin got with that meant anything to Putin, that he wouldn't think about maybe doing that with another American. I have no interest in treading on Russian soil.
I'm going to tell you why. There's 30,000 Americans living in Russia.
Exactly. I'm always telling her.
There's 5 of them in jail right now. Actually 6. Another one just got arrested for drugs. The incarceration rate of Americans is like 0.0004 or 0.0006. It's so low. What is it in America?
Wait, which is higher?
1%.
Also, take England in consideration. It's higher in England, so maybe you shouldn't go to England either.
I haven't gone to any of Europe. I feel safer on my own turf.
I mean, look, the cops, they don't give a shit about Americans here. And in fact, like I've gotten into fights. Not proud to say it, but it wasn't my fault. I got into a fight. The cop found out I was American. He just told me to go. Because they don't want to deal with Americans. Americans have to really fuck up, and break the law in order to get arrested. And if you're smuggling something illegal in Russia into the airport, you know it's illegal, or else you wouldn't have wrapped it in saran wrap, then I'm sorry. And you know what? If Putin did get leverage from that, well, that just makes him a better politician than our politicians. I'm sorry.
Well, I have to agree with John. Plus, I have to correct something because this is gonna air, right? Victor Booth is not a killer. He's an arms dealer. Very different. He's not a killer. And the media here kind of turned him into this freaking monster that eats babies. Like when we are just now talking about Bill Clinton's child molesting and pornography, and somehow Victor Booth is worse than that. Like, come on.
Okay. So full disclosure, Victor Boot is actually a friend of mine now.
Okay. Good.
He's a really fantastic guy.
Oh, really? We call him the Merchant of Death in America.
Yeah, they call
do you know why?
Because he funds killings.
He doesn't fund anything.
He's just a dirt. What he does is he deals with arms.
He's in logistics.
Yeah.
And you know what? The only difference between him and all these other assholes running guns is he was in logistics for the wrong country.
Exactly. He was just from Russia, and they couldn't have Russia dealing arms because that's American business. And Americans
Yeah.
have their tentacles everywhere. And all of a sudden Victor Booth came in and proved to be better than American arms dealers, and more people wanted to buy from him. And they were like, we gotta get this guy out of the market. He's taking all our business. That's what happened. That's why he's what they call it? Merchant
Merchant
of
of
death.
death.
Yeah.
Merchant of Death.
So
Yeah.
these things need to clear it up, like, be cleared up. And this is why me and Ivory, kudos to her, always have people who, to hear from the other side as well. So there's actually a movie made about him, right? With Nicolas Cage. Nicolas
Oh.
Cage is like following us
I
everywhere.
don't know. Was it made about him? I don't know.
I don't
Maybe.
know. It's like they say that it was, but I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, he's just an arms dealer, which the United States has been doing everywhere, like, since their existence, I think. So
Well,
If
it does say something, John, that you're safe and sound in Russia. They're not jailing you, and you're an American. But that's
no, and
also
you know
because you're
what?
an
It's funny
American dissident.
because they've never knocked on my door asking for the hard drive, ask for the contents.
Mhm.
I got my political asylum long before I had the hard drive. That's another thing I hear. Oh, John got political asylum because he traded the hard drive for it. I got my political asylum at the end of 2016. I didn't get the hard drive in Russia until 2019. So, that's a lie. They don't ask anything of me here.
So tell us just slightly, because many Americans probably want to know, what's life like in Moscow for an American who's a defector?
Well, for an American in general, it's absolutely fantastic.
Hmm. You don't get.
First of all, Americans are treated very well here.
That's true, because I was there and everyone treated me as, like, I guess that they were waiting. Like I always say, like a princess. So, they treat
Yeah.
me like a princess. So I have to attest to that. Yes. Even
Yeah,
if
But you're
Um,
originally a Georgian.
they didn't know that. When I
Yeah.
was there, I always said American because that's where I'm from. So they didn't know that.
yeah. I mean, when you talk to people in English, and it could be they just treat you better, and they even treat you better than the Russians. And I don't know
Huh.
why it's strange, but they even the government, Russians here, they grew up wanting blue jeans, Michael Jackson CDs. They really have a deep respect for Western, at least
Culture,
the older
yeah.
Western culture.
That's true.
Well-
And this is why you kind of get treated like a celebrity if you're an American here. I got a friend named Anton. He was born in Russia. 5 years old, he moved to America, came back when he was 32. He will not go back to the United States. He refuses to, but he speaks perfect English. And whenever we go out, he's like, John, I'm not Anton, I'm Tony. Don't ask me to translate. I don't speak Russian. We're going to go out, we're going to have a great time. And, this is just the way it is here.
That's true.
Interesting. Okay, well, circling back as we close out this interview, which has been fascinating, people are still wondering if you're telling the truth. So final question would be, why are, if you're so scared to release these files,
Mhm.
you still hold on to them and speak publicly about them? Because speaking about them would put you in danger. What do you hope to accomplish by speaking about them?
Well, look, all the powerful people, they already know that I have this hard drive. Although, what they also know is that the hard drive I do not keep with me. And there are certain safeguards in place that if anything happens to me, they will be released.
Okay, well, that's important details. Okay, well, John, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us. John Mark.
Oh, by the way, there is a journalist. When I opened up the file, there is a journalist. I can't remember the guy's name, an American guy. He was with me.
Well, let us know. Let us know his name when you remember.
Actually, is this the guy who got questioned by the feds when he came back to the States? Is the same person you're talking about?
No, it's a different guy. What was his name? He's kind of a famous scriptwriter. Yeah. But he was in Moscow for something else, and we met up, and he was with me when we read this article together.
Are you
And he
talking
said,
about Wyatt Reed?
huh?
Are you talking about Wyatt Reed?
No,
Oh,
no. Ron. Oh, I can't use my phone. Ron. Ron
You-
something. Are you on my Facebook?
I'm on your VK. I can see the VK. What's up? Ron somebody?
No, he's
Well,
on my Facebook.
yeah,
Just
send
look
it
up
send it
Ron.
to Elizabeth and let us
Send
know
it to
when you
me
find
and
out.
we might put it up. Depends. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Johns. You took your time. I know it's late in Russia, so thank you so much. And I'll be in touch about when we edit this whole thing. Well, it's probably going to go as it is, but still.
Yes, great talking to you, John. Stay
You
safe,
as well.
and I hope the truth comes out. All the best to you.
That's going to be the FBI's job to do it. So if people want to complain about me not releasing them, no, tell them to direct their anger to the FBI. Write letters to the director. He's got them. He knows what's on there.
Mm.
People need to pressure them because they're the only ones who can do something about it legally.
So, quick question: why do you think, before you go, why do you think the FBI is sitting on this? I mean, the Epstein files are out, right? People know. Do you think that there's someone that they are protecting, somebody who's more important than Prince Andrew or Bill Clinton that they are protecting? So why would they sit on it otherwise?
I do think there are other people, a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you don't have to have gone to Pedo Island to have sex with the girls that he had. They were
Yeah.
having sex with people in New York. They were having sex in Palm Beach. This was not. Look, some people won't travel to a foreign country. They'll be like, well, I'll do it here. If it's a law enforcement officer, like maybe a high-ranking official of the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think people would be asking questions if they were going to some foreign country?
Yeah. So you're saying
Yeah,
that.
because they gotta disclose all that. They can't just go.
True.
So you think they might be protecting one of their own?
I do.
An
I do.
FBI agent or
I somebody with the FBI, maybe some
DHS.
people with the intelligence agencies.
Well, you
Look,
have to, you have to understand that Epstein, 99% was working for the CIA, and these people that were on the island, they were not there to just, have intercourse with little kids. They were also there so that CIA would one day come and say, "Look what we've got on you. You know that this girl is underage. If we do, like, this was more of a blackmailing tactics. The entire
the CIA doesn't need them to go to an island for them to get that kind of dirt.
Yeah, but it's different when they do go, right? It's almost like what's better than having somebody on a pedo island? Like they will shut up for the rest of their lives. So it's like, so what else do you think it was? I mean, other than a blackmail?
I don't know. I don't know if I really don't think that in the scheme of things, if you look at it from a fact-based legal argument, if you had sex other than the trafficking aspect,
Mm-hmm.
if you had sex with a 14-year-old girl in Palm Beach or on Pedo Island, in fact, if anything, it's more difficult to prosecute because they're not in the country anymore. So you think that if the FBI wants some dirt on somebody, they'll get dirt in the country. It'd be better for them.
Wow. Well, I didn't know whether to believe you, but the way you spoke today was very believable. So I'm leaning towards believing your story today, John. We have to wrap it up now, but it's great to talk to you, and hopefully we get to the truth in this.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.